Okay, so now we talked about memory. Now let's go into conscious and unconscious thoughts. Okay, so first of all, we have conscious, of course, is what we're focused on, is what we're thinking at the time. Okay, unconscious is happening all the time in our brain. It's always going on. Okay. So a couple of really important non-conscious processes, and I want you to use that term in your notes, okay? So some non-conscious processes. Breathing and blood pressure, okay? So we're automatically, our brain, okay, the back of our brain is actually going through this process, making sure that we're breathing, making sure that our blood pressure is good, making sure that our heart's beating a certain pattern. Now, we can also have situations to where we think we can control our breathing a little bit by holding our breath. We're like, kids don't throw temper tantrums anymore like that. I mean, that's only on TV. But you can stop breathing till you turn blue. But eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to pass out, and your brain's going to say, okay, well, you can't take care of that anymore. We'll let the unconscious part of that brain take care of that. So non-conscious processes, breathing, blood pressure, and heart rate. So you've got all this non-conscious stuff going on that's happening automatic. Then we have something called preconscious memories. All right. So this is different states of consciousness and unconsciousness. Okay. So let me kind of help you with your notes here. So the first one we have was non-conscious processes. Examples: breathing, blood pressure, and I'll add heart rate because that's part of it too. And then we have preconscious memories. Okay, preconscious memories. These are memories that are accessible to consciousness only after something calls our attention to it. Okay, preconscious memories. All right. Now, what are they? They're memories that are accessible. They're back there in the unconscious. They're memories that are back there. Once again, what's the brain? The brain, even though it's a Coke can-sized brain, is this incredible file cabinet. All the things that's ever happened to us, we've sorted in these different memories, whether it's sensing, working, long-term memories. We've sorted all the memories that we have. So whenever we have a new memory come up, then we gotta stop and we gotta say, okay, now have I not had that? Oh, I've got to store that. Wow, I've never heard that. All right. So for example, and I don't think I gave this to you earlier. Forgive me if I did. We've been doing several videos today. But if I just make up a word, okay, if I just make up a word and I give you the word, and all of a sudden you just start scanning all your brain for all the memories trying to find this word. Now, it's going to be a stupid word. I'll tell you in advance, I'm just going to make up this word, okay? So I'm just trying to think of something, put something together here. Erasmatithic, okay? So the word is erasmatithic, all right? Now, right away, regardless of where you were at, I mean, if you were really paying attention to this video or you were halfway paying attention to this video, erasmatithic is now something that you're scanning. And it's like your computer where it's just spinning. And you're like, oh, well, I think it sounds like arithmetic, and you're trying to associate that with everything in your brain. Every kind of memory you have, you're trying to find it. You're trying to find it. And there's nothing there. Now, if I never tell you that erasmatithic is anything, then you're going to spin for a while, your brain's going to go, and it's going to be like, that's a nothing. So in your long-term memory, you're going to be like, that's not a valuable memory. Your working memory is going to say it's just not important. It's not going to go to your long-term. But if I were to tell you, now I don't want to mess you up here, okay? The problem is we're going to store this in your memory, and I can say erasmatithic at the end of the year, and it's kind of weird. A lot of you would remember this word, and it doesn't mean this. Let's say erasmatithic means, I don't know. Once again, I'm going to make something up. Let's say erasmatithic means that you're really, let's say it means road rage, okay? We have a lot around Dallas-Fort Worth up here. I see a lot of road rage. So let's just say that a person that has road rage is erasmatithic. So right away you're like, and we just made that up, okay? And that's the beauty of America. We can make words up right away. So somebody's liable to, in your mind, somebody's going to pull out in front of you and you're going to say, oh, they're arousomatific. Okay. The minute you associate that word with something, boom, because you haven't heard it before, you're storing it. You're storing it. You're storing it in this memory. So this is the thing about preconscious memories. Whenever something draws your attention to something, okay, like for example, once again, if you have a little bit of ADHD, attention deficit disorder, I don't want to mess you up there, but we're watching this video, we're paying attention to this, all of a sudden I mention something else, okay, and I say something like, once again, just picking something out that might draw some memories. I talk about, hey, does anybody have a birthday today? Okay, so all of a sudden, what came to your mind? Maybe a birthday cake, maybe your birthday, a party, maybe, I don't know, maybe you really need to get a life, and it was that little hat thing that you would really have to get a life, okay? Unless you have little kids, and then it's okay, all right? Or if you have grandkids, like I say, I've got my 11-month-old grandson, so, okay. So preconscious memories, they're in there all the time, but they're not really accessible until something calls attention to it. Now, this can be good and this can be bad. Wow, there we go again. I'm allergic to psychology. So this could be really good or this could be really bad. What if your preconscious memories come back and they're not good memories? I mean, let's say that, once again, not to bring up anything that might affect you or whatever, but let's say somebody was in a fire or something, or their house burnt down or whatever. That memory is something that they may have kind of suppressed back, and then that memory comes up every time they hear a fire truck or something. So once again, these preconscious memories are always there. The question is, what draws attention to them? Now, once we take Psychology 202, abnormal psychology, that's a real big thing, because then we call that a trigger. What's the trigger that causes us to find that preconscious memory and draw it back out of our brain? Okay. So once again, we're talking about conscious and unconscious thoughts. So non-conscious process, that's going on all the time, breathing, blood pressure, heart rate. Then we talked about preconscious memories. Those are memories that are available only when we call attention to them and makes us think of them. Then we have something that's really interesting. Number 3, unattended information. Okay, unattended information. So this is all of the background information. This is the tick of the clock. This is the buzz of the lights. This is the color of the room. This is the color of the sky, unless that's what we're looking at. If we're looking at the weather, we say, well, look at the sky. Then we're looking at that. But all of the unattended information, there is, if we were to type, okay, it's a fascinating situation. If we were to type everything that we see, okay, there was this interesting discussion here, and I mean, we won't chase this rabbit too far. I've got a dog that chases rabbits, so I have a new appreciation for that term. Chasing a rabbit can take you way off the path, but if we were to type up everything we see constantly, like I'm looking, I see a table, I see glass, I see ceilings, lights, floors, and everything we hear and everything we touch. It could be 1,000 pages a day. See the problem? So we have so much unattended information that if we can only actually really dwell on one thought, even though that thought might be a millisecond, might be a thousandth of a second, even though we can only have that, if we can only have one thought at a time, imagine, if you will, if we have attention deficit disorder where we notice all the unattended information. Now, the unattended information can pick up, okay, if all of a sudden it's important, all right? Like all of a sudden I hear, people are talking in the other room, and all of a sudden I hear a lady scream, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's different. I need to focus in on that, so I almost drop what I'm doing and go from there. In a school building or regular building, the fire alarm goes off, and even though you're studying science, math, English, whatever you're studying, that alarm it goes from unattended information to that's what we have to focus on. Now, there was a little bit of research that was done. It's really interesting. It's in your book. It talks to this, And in this research, they had people watch two basketball players pass a basketball back and forth, okay? So it was real simple. It was just two basketball players, and they were passing the ball back and forth. And they asked the whole class, okay? They asked, it was a PE class. They had a whole class. They had 100 students in the class, and they had them count how many times the kids passed the ball, and they were passing as fast as they can back and forth. Okay, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they had to count each pass that was made. So they were really focused in on that. Okay, and then they ran two guys dressed in gorilla suits right in behind the two guys. So here's these two guys out here passing the ball. Okay, they're like standing here back and forth, and you're watching the ball go back and forth, and you're counting them. And there's 100 students in this experiment watching this deal, and these aren't junior high students. These are college students, and they're watching this ball go back and forth, and they're counting it, and the ball's going really fast. And then they ran two guys dressed in gorilla suits right across the back of the deal. And when they got all done, the teacher said, "Okay, here's the test." And they just knew they were going to ask how many times did the ball pass, because that's what they were focused on. The teacher said, "Okay, here's the test. How many guys in gorilla suits ran past the screen?" And only 2 people in the whole 100 people even noticed that there was 2 guys running through in gorilla suits. And as they ran through, the guys in the gorilla suits were doing this, and they were supposed to draw attention if they could, and but they're running through and beating their chest and running through. So the research shows that they didn't sneak past, they try to draw attention. But what do we have? Unattended information. But that's important, because the 2 people that saw the other 2 probably didn't know how many times the ball was passed, and that was probably going to be the question. So unattended information is the third type of conscious and unconscious thoughts we have. And then number 4. I'm gonna throw in another term here real quick that goes under number 3, unattended information, and this is inattentional. Inattentional. Inattentional blindness, and that's where we focus on one thing. Inattentional blindness is where we focus on one thing and we don't notice anything else. And that's a skill that we have to have sometimes. And so once again, number 3, we're talking about states of consciousness and unconsciousness. We had non-conscious processes, preconscious memories, unattended information, and under that is also inattentional blindness, where we just focus on one thing. Number 4 is the state of unconsciousness. The state of unconsciousness is truly a mystery and truly amazing. We have some research by Sigmund Freud, and Sigmund Freud, if you've taken Psychology 101, or you've had another psychology, you probably studied Freud. Freud has the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is a childlike behavior. The ego is the plan to get what the child wants. And the superego says, is that plan moral? Is it ethical? And is it reasonable? So what Freud is saying that all of those, the id, the ego, and the superego, exist in the unconscious state, that we're doing that all the time. So in the unconscious state, we almost have this conversation going on among ourselves. Okay, we've got this unconscious going on, and then all of a sudden we don't know where this comes from, when all of a sudden we bring it out into the conscious state. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like some of the commercials nowadays. I heard one the other day. And this is kind of obvious. It's kind of a goofy commercial. It was a car dealer, and their little saying was, "Truck, gotta get a truck. Truck, gotta get a truck." Well, you're driving down the road. You're gonna, well, what does it cost to buy a truck nowadays? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, let's go spend $20,000 to get a truck, maybe even $10,000 to get a used one. But truck, gotta get a truck. So what Freud is saying is that your inner kid is responding to all of this in your unconscious state. Isn't that something? So we're going to come back and talk more about the unconscious here in a little bit. But we're going to wrap this video up with looking once again at 4 areas of consciousness and unconscious. We had non-conscious processes, preconscious memories, unattended information and then the unconscious thought that's happening.